culture influences design. If we design for different people, we want to consider the effect of culture. Our goal is to provide an overview and appraisal of Chinese user experience, designed for Chinese people. Design of what? Design of artifacts, things, appliances, products, device, or service, or even the environment, like a building, like a room. Culture comprises both culturally determined user characteristics and tangible artifacts. And those artifacts storing and expressing a culturally determined knowledge. One example, chapsticks. Chinese people use chapsticks. If you eat Chinese food, you use chapsticks. In America, in North America, or in Europe, people also enjoy Chinese food. And people learn to use chapsticks. But those chapsticks are actually different from the chapsticks used in China. In China, Chinese people prefer longer chapsticks because Chinese people share food with a group of people, like sitting around a round table. So we need longer chapsticks to reach the food. Many other Asian cultures, Asian people, also use chapsticks. Like the neighbor country of China. The neighbor country of China, like Korea, like Japan. Korean people also use chapsticks. But Korean chapsticks, basically, mainly made of metal. And Korean people use chapsticks and spoon together as well. Japanese people also use chapsticks, and compared to Chinese chapsticks, shorter. Both Korean people and Japanese people do not share food in a big round table with other people that often. Shorter chapsticks, easy to use, easy to reach the food in front. Japanese chapsticks, shorter, but not like Korean chapsticks. Japanese chapsticks made of wood, bamboo, or other materials. So take one example like chapsticks. From the design of chapsticks, we can find out the difference is in the culture and lifestyles. And these differences in lifestyles and also in culture mentalities lead to different requirements of things and systems across cultural groups. And this will inevitably influence the interaction between human and appliances. If we give a simple picture to describe this influence, the influence of culture on design, in the figure you could see, we have to start consider the requirement at first. And the requirements lead to different mentalities, different ways to perceive information, different ways to collect information, and different ways to process information, and different ways of their emotion. They're just different. And all this difference can influence design of appliances, devices, and machines, and any kind of a system. And furthermore, the experience of interacting with certain kinds of products, appliances for work, entertainment, and communication will shape the way people behave and people think, and will modify the value preferred by different cultures, by specific culture, and change the culture ultimately. Take one example of social media in China. Chinese people use or rely on social media a lot, like Weibo, microblog, or like WeChat, like Weixin. People start to get contact with other people, try to communicate with other people by social media. And people's lives have changed. And people do not call other people or meet other people like often like before. But on the other hand, Chinese people can get in touch with people in such a big country in a different way. In other words, to sum up, the previous experience will influence users' requirement of the system. Take internet speed as an example. If you use very fast internet, then the requirement of the speed of internet is there. If we take the internet from your life, then you feel not so comfortable. Furthermore, this experience of interacting with the system, like the experience of interacting with smartphones, the system used for work, entertainment, for other purposes, it will shape the way people think and behave and modify the value. I give you another example. Beijing University is a very famous university in China. I had a friend from Stanford University who had a chance to lead a group of Stanford students to visit Peking University, to take a class, to study with local Chinese university students. They are all very good students, and they make friends easily. Stanford students try to pick up some Chinese. Chinese students in Peking University speak English, so no problem. But after a certain time, my friend and other professors in the program find out the problem. They ask the American students, yeah, how do you think about the Chinese students? They say, well, the American students said, well, the Chinese students are very good. They speak English, we can communicate, and the experience of studying in China is very good to me. I enjoy it. But there's one thing very strange. What is that? Chinese food? No. Chinese language? No. The way they use mobile phone. Chinese students use mobile phone all the time. In the classroom, maybe sending messages, reading messages, or even making phone calls. When we are in a group meeting, in many classes, we have to do a project together. We have to discuss. And during the discussion, we often see Chinese students, again, sending messages, reading messages, chatting, or answering, or talking to someone using mobile phone. This is very strange. This is a waste of our time and their time as well. We should focus on discussion. We understand if there's any urgent issues to handle. But how come everybody has so many urgent issues all the time? Impossible. Very strange. Some even complain. I don't think those Chinese students respect our discussion. Okay, the professors and my friend talk to Chinese students, the students from Peking University. How do you think about American students? Oh, they're very good, very sharp, and work together very well. I enjoy the experience. But there's one thing. How they use mobile phone. What? We haven't told you how they complain about you, and you complain about them? Yeah. Those American students are very strange. They don't use mobile phone. Why do they need it? When they're in a class, they don't use it. You send a message, they don't reply. Not mentioning if you call them. Sometimes they even turn it off. In a meeting, in a discussion, or even when they enjoy their dinner, they don't answer mobile phones. They don't read the messages. So why do they need it? They complain of each other. Again, coming back here, the experience of interacting with the mobile phone shaped the way people think and behave, modify the value. In this case, American students think the Chinese students are not so polite. The Chinese students think the American students are very strange. They have different value system. Fortunately, my friend and the professors asked the two groups to talk to each other, to understand. Oh, now I understand. In China, Chinese people use mobile phone in a different way. Use mobile phone, the same technology, same product. In this culture, used in a different way. And Chinese students also understand, oh, okay, in your culture, now I understand why you do this and you don't do this. And again, coming back here. So this difference, this previous experience can modify the value preferred by specific culture. I don't know if Chinese people are going to change or American people are going to change. But in this case, at least it's a happy ending. They won't be able to change subtly in such a short time, but they understand each other. One more example about Chinese people, about design for Chinese people. Color. Red color. If you have a chance to visit China during Chinese New Year, lunar calendar New Year, you find the color red everywhere. If you have a chance to go to a wedding of a Chinese couple, you found red color. But if you go on streets, you see traffic lights. What's the meaning of red color? Warning. No. Danger. Negative. How come you use the color of meaning? Danger. Your wedding? Celebrating New Year? Seems a little strange. But actually, red color traditionally in Chinese culture means prosperity, positive, luck, very good. Or even if you go to a Chinese restaurant in Chinatown, you see red color. But red color does not have the similar meaning in other cultures. But according to some studies, by late 80s, Chinese people still struggle a little bit on the association of the color. But later studies showed by late 90s or early 21st centuries, Chinese people have learned the association of red color. Meaning, in this situation, like wedding, celebration, red color, positive. In some other occasions, that means danger. And also like yellow color, if you go to Forbidden City, yellow color was used for royal family in history. But in traffic signs, in traffic lights, you see yellow color as caution. And Chinese people have learned this association, have learned the meaning of color in different situations.